a sit-down video rather than a vlog. I just kind of wanted to change it up. On top of that, I kind of want to focus on living in Denmark, studying in Denmark, and kind of what that experience is about for those who maybe are interested in going to Denmark, specifically Aarhus, or just kind of studying in Europe overall. And everything I say here is from my opinion, so if it isn't correct or do I say something weird, of course that is from my viewpoint and my experiences being here. So this video most likely will focus on a couple parts because there's just so much to talk about, but just in hope for the end of this video to be really helpful for people and just knowing what it's like and living in Denmark and studying in Denmark and just being in Denmark for whether that's a week or a couple months or years. So yeah, so let's do it. Institutions, and specifically Aarhus University, which I am at, really emphasizes the idea of your willingness to learn, your desire to go to classes and desire to really expand your knowledge and that passion through there. No one's gonna like hold your hand and push you and make sure you go to class and make sure you do your homework, because it's really huge on being independent and being an adult. People really don't care if you're the top of the top or you're one of those show-offs or one of those in class and you're like, ooh, I know. Like, they don't care. They're all there everyone is there to get an education, and that's basically what you're similar about, and that's kind of how it is. On top of that, a lot of the classes that I take, they don't take attendance, and I know from like a University of Wisconsin-Madison perspective, people are probably like, that's amazing because they don't take a class, but because the lessons are much longer compared to Madison, and I'll get into that later. Missing class is actually a pretty huge thing because you have so much material going through. You have seminar you talked about, and it's definitely a thing you don't want to do. And on top of that, just the homework and life outside of class, they're very balanced. So what I mean by that is, say after you're done with class and stuff like that, we're done with the day of classes, you can just hang out with friends, go get a drink with them, and you still have time to do your homework and do your readings and whatever you have, because it's just about how much work you put into it and how much work you really want to learn about and how much you want to understand the material you're studying. So I think that's a great thing from my perspective, because I love the independency, but at the same time that accountability. You just got to make friends and kind of communicate with people, saying like, hey, we should create a group chat, or hey, we should do this, allowing others to kind of really help each other stay motivated. But then again, like I said before, not necessarily that sense of really showing who's the top of the class. Like, it doesn't matter. Well, another thing about the academia is the libraries. So libraries close really early, and study areas are closed really early because of that idea of balancing the work life, the academia life, and the personal life. So for example, the Royal Danish Library, which is an amazing library, so I definitely would recommend Googling that because it's like has like plants inside of it. But that library closes at 6 p.m. And from a Madison perspective, our libraries are 24/7, Monday through Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday are. But Friday and Saturday close a little bit earlier, but that makes sense. As for Dock 1, Dock 1's kind of another cute little library study place, and Dock 1 closes at 10 p.m. on Mondays through Thursdays, and then Fridays through Sundays they close at 4 p.m. So it's kind of like you have to plan out how you want to study, what you want to study within that time. But Dock 1's really great. You have good views, and it's good ambience and stuff like that. And if you like listen to music, that's fine. But if you like kind of the ambience of people talking, I would just be careful for the Dock 1, just because it's also a place where kids play and you might hear screaming and loud noises. So if you're easily distracted, I wouldn't. So if you're usually distracted by noises, I wouldn't necessarily go there or find quiet places in there. Another thing about the academic independence is the grading scale. The grading scale is quite different. Instead of going through like A, B, 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 C, it's from a 12-point scale. So it's, I think, from a -1 to a 12. So 12 is like you're doing amazing, fantastic, like great. But then like a negative, so 0 is like you're just not doing well, but the -1 is like you're failing and you're doing a really bad job. So it's going to be interesting in regards to how that works and how that transfers. So on top of that, when grading in regards to the finals, like portfolio based, and I'll get into more about that later. So the last point with the academia that I can fit in is the types of exams and exam times. So Aarhus University has a mix of different exams. They have portfolios, which is kind of self-explanatory. You just create a portfolio of different, like, say, places or campaigns or whatever you're learning, and then kind of compile those works together, and in the end that's kind of like your final. Then you also have written exams, which is pretty also self-explanatory, except for the written ones you have maybe like 3 or 4 hours and you just write and write and write. And then the type of exam that I am not used to, I haven't really heard of in the US that I know of, is oral exams. Aarhus University also does oral exams, which is kind of, you go into a room and you're pretty much given some kind of like topic or question or whatever. You get it, you get to go outside the room, get maybe like 30 minutes to write down as much stuff as you want, go back into the room, and you have maybe 10 minutes to explain to the exam proctors kind of like your answer. And they say if your answer is really good, that they'll ask you questions and stuff like that. So it's really making sure you know the material and really kind of like jotting stuff down as much as you need to and want to. So I'm happy I don't really have oral exams, because I would just speak about everything and anything and be quite confusing. And then lastly, it's just kind of the regular exam types, is the kind of like the bubble fill-in sheets. So it's just, you have a question or whatever, and then you have your bubbles to fill in. So there's not too much to emphasize on that. Now the thing about the finals is the finals at Aarhus University actually take place towards the end of December and January, which is quite different because at the University of Wisconsin-Madison in the US, we have midterms and all that stuff, and then we have say a week to study for exams, or maybe sometimes you take your exams on your last day. But here at Aarhus University, you take your exams within a designated time towards January/end of December. Speaking of that, so personally me, I have 3 classes. Each of those classes are equal to 10 ETCs, estimated transfer credits. And for that, at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, a 10 credit class here is equivalent to like a 5 credit class at my university. So in total, if I have 3 classes plus 30 credits, that would transfer to about 15 credits at Madison. So luckily I'm still full-time. So it's nice because of those 3 classes that I have. They obviously have a good amount of work. I have classes on Monday and Tuesday, and Monday I go from 8:15 to noon, and then I have a 15-minute break, and then from 12:15 to 3. So it's definitely an interesting, different kind of take on it, but it still is kind of like the workload is a workload that anyone would have with readings. On top of like with going to classes, it's kind of really small kind of lectures, if you were to say, and then they have lectures and seminar mixed together. So it's kind of nice because like you're with the same people, so you feel comfortable in discussing things, you feel comfortable in asking questions, and you just kind of get a sense of getting close to the people and understanding the different cultures and different mindsets and how people present themselves through their academia knowledge. And then with that, when you go to class, I know at Madison, and then I'm bringing up Madison a lot just from personal experience, Madison, a lot of the professors really emphasize note-taking with their hands and things such as that. But here, everyone pretty much uses their laptops, which is kind of nice because I like taking notes and organizing them through that. And then teachers, they post on slides and give you the slides after, so that's always also super nice. But classes are very laptop heavy. So you could say that's kind of like 1A, so the academia is very independent. If you want to learn, if you do not want to learn, that's your choice. And it just kind of really links to the idea of equality, which is a very huge concept that Denmark has, which I'll go into later. But it's like everyone's equal, you do what you need to do, It's all about your passion and aspiration to succeed. And then with that also, as I said, professors from Madison, but then I say teachers here, they do it where you just call them by their first name and stuff like that. It's very informal, very relaxing, and it's took a while for me to kind of get that and understand that, but I think academia and the institution, specifically Aarhus University here, I really like it, and it's definitely a change, and when I go back it's going to be quite a slap in the face. So focus number 2, drinking. So beyond Europe's law of people drinking at the age of 16 rather than 18, depending on the alcohol percentage of the purchasing, it's funny because in Denmark you actually can see people drink and walk around with an open bottle of alcohol, which is a huge culture shock to me, because I was like, oh my gosh, are they going to get arrested, or the police going to know? So that was definitely something different for me. On top of that, the Danes really believe in, like, after they're done with work, everyone just goes to get a drink, and usually when people say go home, spend time with their family, and then go out, a lot of the Danes just kind of go out with their family to get a drink and to relax, and they really believe in the 9 to 5, like you specifically stop at 5 p.m. or some people even leave at 4 p.m. for their family or for times to go to the pubs with their friends. And I think there are plenty of pubs, and it's nice because there's the kind of Danish drink, which is the Tuborg, pretty good, and then you also have the Carlsberg. I like the Tuborg most. I don't know, there's the taste isn't as strong. Not as strong, it's just a taste that I'm more appealed to. Another cool thing about the drinking is at Aarhus University, they have these things called Friday bars, and it's just like they say it. So after class is usually Friday, depending on your faculty, and it's like your different faculties. So I'm part of the Faculty of Arts. Basically, they have their own Friday bars. So if you were to go to, say, the art building, and it would pretty much just be a bunch of people towards the end of the night, just having beers, super cheap beer, which is really nice. It's like maybe 20 kroners, and then it's $6 to 1 kroner. So that'd be maybe $3 or $4 for just one beer, which is really good, or even cheaper than that, depending on where you go. And on Friday, September 13th, there was this event called the Biggest Friday Bar, which in summary are just a bunch of people getting together and overall drinking super early until super late. It was free for everyone, some cool music, and it just had great things. And I'll post a little bit video right now to show kind of what the Friday bar is.
I got some issues to get
Welcome back. I hope that video was fun and exciting. So for focus number 3, we have equality, and I mentioned this before. So the equality is really focused on the idea that all identities are equal, that men and women are seen equal, that it's not huge to be like show you you're masculine or you're feminine. It's just kind of really how you want to represent yourself is how you want to represent yourself. And this idea of basically if you're carrying your suitcase and like it's really difficult, people walk past you, so unless you actually ask for help, which is a huge thing, you need to ask for help, they won't help you because it's like they are understanding or feeling that you're capable to do things you need to do. But then on the opposite note, you can also see that the Danes are really nice. So if like say like your bike fell, they're still willing to help you. But other things you just have to actually like go up and say like, hey, like how do you say this, or hey, where's this? And then another thing is like, so if you were to see, say, for example, you're out on a Friday night and you see like a person on the floor from like intoxication, a lot of people will just walk around because it's none of their business and the person doesn't look like they need help, and unless there was to be a really huge circumstance, most people would just kind of be like, that's that person's choice to drink, whatever. It's not other people's responsibility to take care of those individuals. Another example is, say if you're shopping for a car, you're shopping for clothes or whatever, and you're, say, looking at the racks and whatnot, or the cars, a lot of the people won't actually go up to you and say, how can I help you? It's like you have to go up and say, hey, can you help me to find this, or hey, can you help me to find that? They'll like smile at you, but they won't necessarily feel the need to directly go up to you once they see you. So then the reason for this equality and this for like not asking people, seeing if people need help, it's just the idea of like also the Danes, like they don't really like hold the door open for each other, because that's another thing of like, that's like, why do they have to help the other people? Because like they're living a good life, they're doing their things, everyone's equal, you can hold the door for yourself. And it's kind of because of the high tax rate. It's like they pay their fair payments on taxes and they're just living their life and going throughout that. So I think overall, I think a really major thing that I've also learned is the Danes really enjoy their personal space, and they don't really partake in small talk, which is like, you know, if you're just kind of in the US, if you're walking down the street and you see somebody you know, you're like, oh hey, and they're like, hey, what's up? Nothing, how about you? Cool, how are you doing? Good, and then you pass each other. To where a lot in Denmark, the Danes, there'll be more of a, if you say something, they'll kind of be like, if you ask them how their day's going, they'll kind of like give you the full like rundown and stuff like that. But it's a really good way to get to know each other, and at the same time, it's nice. It's just nice because you can really reach out when you want to reach out, but at the same time, if you like your personal privacy and like your personal business, you can definitely have that here. Well, that's it for me so far about the Danish life in academia, a little bit for part 1. I know a lot of people are probably super bored about this, but I'll put more information on Denmark, living in Denmark and learning. And then if you kind of have any questions or comments, or anything I should add to the next part, or I made an incorrect statement, as I mentioned before, this is my personal opinion, just let me know, and I never wanted to offend anyone with whatever I say. But I hope everyone has a good day.